Hello, beautiful souls. This is going to be another DM karmic twin flame check in. And it's funny because the minute that I pushed record on this, I started hearing a song that I haven't heard in a while that has a lot of meaning for me. And it's the Want to Break Free by Queen. I want to break free. Oh, how I want to break free. And that one, the image I'm getting too, because I love it, like they shook the world with their music video that they did for it, cross-dressing and everything like that, which at that time was just like, it wasn't unheard of because come on, Shakespeare, but it was not something that was typically done on television, and they were really pushing boundaries, right? Which really fits in with today. Mars just entered into Gemini, which is very much this like bring your weapons to the battlefield kind of energy, like, and especially if you've got any strong Gemini energy or strong Aries energy, like, this is really going to shake things up. Like, there's definitely going to be, let's just say, wands are out, and I've been getting some, I want to say, some buildup energy, sort of prefixed energy to this even before I remembered that Mars was going into Gemini, which is, it's funny. I don't usually use biblical terms. I'm not against them. I'm just very pagan. But the what keeps coming up is, don't sin when you're angry. Like, and it's funny because, like, for me, sin typically means disconnect from spirit. Like, that's, I've had a fair number of Christian friends, and like we've discussed a lot of these philosophical spiritual terms, and it's like sin really, it feels like when you are disconnected from yourself and you are disconnected from spirit. But sin can also mean, drinking, drugs, gambling, losing your temper, screaming, yelling, cheating, all sorts of things like that. And they're not good in any energy, but they're especially bad in anger energy. The other thing is it's like, don't be in a space where you're never angry or you never allow yourself to experience anger. Anger is actually, I mean, we experience it for a reason. It means that our boundaries have been crossed, our boundaries have been broken, things like that have happened, and it shows us where we need to have things placed. And when anger comes up, a lot of times we train ourselves to be in this space of, don't say it, don't say anything, don't stand up, just go polish the car, go for a walk, go shopping, go do this thing, don't express it, and then it sits in us and it starts to build up its own kind of poison, you know. And this feels like a collective energy more than anything else, but it's most definitely sitting with masculines. And masculines who are still, whether they're just gotten intertwined with karmics or they've been in there for years, like, they're really starting to feel the buildup of the physical manifestations of sinning while angry. And the title of this video, I think I'm still going to leave it at this, but I might change it by the end. We'll see. And the title is The Inquisition, or the Grand Inquisition, because, this falls along with some of the energy of last night's karmic energy check-in, DM energy check-in, where, karmics are really going at masculines about, their feelings about DF and what's going on with this and why are they doing this and that. But it feels like it's getting even hotter today, especially with the Mars and Gemini energy. Hang on just a second. And there's definitely something big that's going to be happening tonight and tomorrow. I don't know what exactly. I just know that those are the energies. There's some sort of almost a big bang sort of thing going on. And the first cards that I got out, I asked for some energy to, to check in, make sure that I'm sensing this energy correctly, and just to get kind of a theme of this reading. And I got the Seven of Wands right off the bat. It's the Seven of Peppermills in this deck. It's got a giant griffin on it, and he's like defending his hilltop and stuff like that. And then on the bottom, and I can't show you on this one just yet, but I will. I'll get back to face-to-face reading soon, but something says just go along with these ones the way that they are for right now. There's something of value in it. And in any case, the card on the bottom of the deck is the Four of Wands in reverse. And typically, the Four of Wands in reverse is divorce, breakups. What was once thought to be something stable to celebrate is now unstable. It's falling apart. And there's almost like this underlying energy of a celebration of it ending. Like somebody, and I think it's probably more masculines, but even karmics, even they kind of want to be in this hermity energy. Like they don't really want to be in these entanglements with each other, but they do it because they think that that's how they will feel approval from, wider society, this like nameless others sort of thing, but also from their families. Now, I'm also getting a sense of a couple other things. One is sister betrayal energy. And I'm also getting the sense that these karmics have sisters and they've been using them to manipulate masculines and do different situations, but it feels like they've also been manipulating these sisters in a, like, not just in a way so that they get benefit from masculines and other things like that too, but like been manipulating them just in general. Like it's kind of become part of these karmics identity to just manipulate. It might be strong Gemini energy with them, not sure, but it feels like they're like there's a strong energy of consequences, 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 and especially with Uranus going retrograde, I think in 4 days, and we've already got Saturn retrograde, and now Mars is in Gemini. So like, there's a strong energy of not only is it consequences, it's like big consequences, like, and I really get the sense too that for those of you that have been really good about not sinning when you're angry, it's so funny to use that word. Like when you've been looking for your inner peace, you've looked for your gratitude, you've gone out for a walk in the woods, you've journaled, you've chosen to do something healthier for yourself. You've chosen to take deep breaths and calm down, to wash your hands and face, to take that salt bath, like instead of reacting and getting fully pulled back into the cycle. I'm not saying you never do. I'm not saying that there isn't ever a moment that you do something that really probably you shouldn't have, but in general you have been really good. You've not let your anger or fear just like completely push you into doing things that, I don't know, maybe that you've done in the past that have kept you in hard cycles, or things that you might see other people do. And if you've been good about that, then right now is, I mean, it might not, it could be a heavy time for you, especially because if you're connected to these DMs that I'm channeling right now, like they're running out of energy and their situations are falling apart. So you will likely see, a reflectiveness of that in your situation. It's not always a 1-to-1 ratio. For you, it might be, that book that you published did not go through. Or it could be, if you're more on my wavelength, it might be that you're not in housing stability just yet. Or maybe you had to move again, but it's not as big as what a lot of these masculines are facing, which could be jail time. It could be violence. It could be, greater chaos and drama and things like that. It could be karmics getting on and trying to like say a whole bunch of stuff about them that like would end their jobs and their reputations and things like that. Now, either way, these masculines are noticing that they have people. I mean, if they don't have an actual sister, it could be somebody that they thought of as a sister. It could actually even be a brother. It could be kind of sibling energy, but they've had these energies around them of like this familial feel. It could be sisters-in-law, two brothers-in-law, but they've felt like these people were supposed to be on their side. These are people that they have probably given to, that they've given the benefit of the doubt to, that they thought, you know what, these people, even if they mess up, they're benevolent, they're doing their best, they mean well for me, or their family, even if they don't. So I'm going to forgive them. And they're really starting to realize that some of those people are the ones that have been sabotaging them. Like they don't want to see them do well. And it feels like a fair amount of you on if you're listening to this video, that you tried to warn them in the past. Maybe you don't anymore. I feel like you're probably in a similar energy to me of like, you know, the warnings don't quite seem to do anything other than serve as a later sort of I told you so energy. And you already know that I know and that I saw it and that I did tell you. So there can't be really any complaints later in the future that I didn't tell you. So I'm just going to let you learn your own lessons. And you don't need me to tell you what's coming. You should be able to see it on your own. And if you don't, then spirit will help you learn. I'm going to give it to spirit. I'm going to let spirit hold your hand through this, And it also feels like some of you even are, if especially if you've got kids with your DM, anything like that going on, you may have been put in a position where it's like, do I put my kids first? Do I put my DM first? They are if your DM is your children's father, like that can create, or mother if your DM is a feminine, that can create certain complications. And generally, my opinion, you always put the kids first. Like, it doesn't mean that you put your partner last or your lover last or your twin flame last, but you definitely put your kids first. And that's even more emphasized if your DM is still in karmic cycles. Not only because that's what's best for the kids, but also because it's not, you're only enabling things when you choose someone who's not behaving in healthy manners, who's not putting self love first, who's not putting their own kids first. When you enable them, that doesn't help anything. You know what I mean? But what I mean to say by that is the Seven of Wands energy. Like, the DMs may be seeing you as a potential karmic, as somebody who's trying to create a downfall for them, and they have been surrounded by like a circus. Like, I'm seeing that, especially the energy of the other cards, like they may have been surrounded by a circus of people who have actually been the ones battling them and been the ones trapping them and keeping them in, but they've all been focused on, guess who? You. And they've wanted DM to believe that you actually are the one that has been hurting them or ruining things and whatnot. But here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Spirit has a way of revealing the truth over time. This is something as a Capricorn that I have learned over and over again. And even if there may have been moments that, you have been the one who reported things, you have been the one who told the authorities, you have been the one who said, hey, I'm not keeping this secret, I'm going to talk about this. And even if that resulted in negative consequences for your twin flame, it is very likely that you were standing up in the light. You were being brave. You were doing the thing. And what is it? The phrase from, what is it, from Dumbledore? It takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemies, even more to your friends. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, that energy, it's kind of a similar energy to learning to stand up to your DM, and not in the old cycle way, not in the, you're not talking to me and giving me attention, so I'm not going to talk to you, and I'm going to do that. Like, that's very karmic. If you feel like you're in an energy of like, they just mess up all the time and they're not good, you're not being any better. Let's just call a spade a spade. You're in the same energy. But there are times when you can recognize and hold unconditional love for someone, and also recognize that you need to stand up to them too. Stand up for yourself too with them. But it feels like the energy of what's going on right now, yeah, Knight of Wands, is that they're getting the message from Spirit, and they're getting a lot of messages from others that are showing them that whatever you may have done or said, it didn't knock down something good that they had. Like, they were in karmic energy. So whether it was a relationship, a house, a business, a job, a thing, whatever it wasn't righteous. It wasn't honorable. It wasn't something that they could stand up and look at other people and go, I feel really proud of the way that I made my money, or I feel really good about this relationship I'm in, or look at this business, like it's so squeaky clean that if somebody walked in with a white glove, they wouldn't find anything dirty here. No, they were in situations to where they were either doing dirty things or allowing dirty things. Yep, Page of Pentacles, likely involving children and money. um, yeah, wow, and the Nine of Cups reversed. So yeah, and using probably single masculine energies and things like that emotionally to be able to manipulate situations. So like, these were not situations that were good, but they looked at you like you were messing up something good for them, because they were only focused on what they were being told to focus on, and they were only focusing on what's the money, and do I have enough to wear that fancy watch? Do I have enough to buy that fancy cologne? Do I have enough to go out to dinner here and there? Things like that. They were focused on these 3D of things. But now it feels like what's also going on, let's get, so what I'm kind of getting, I'm getting this like overwhelming sense of like things just stink. Like, not just in like an emotional, energetic sense, but in like well, I mean, yes, emotional, energetic, but almost in a more literal sense, like things just stink. Like the way that things are set up, the way that stuff is going on, it stinks. It smells fishy. It smells like something rotting. It smells like something old, you know, like it's kind of like, you know, what's funny is I feel like it's almost like a scene from a movie where like a character's been, let's say somebody does like mandrake root or some sort of weird what is it, Pan's Labyrinth sort of thing, and sticks it under masculine's bed, and normally they change it over so that they can manipulate masculine's energy, but then, you know, karmic gets caught up in their own BS or their own emotions or this Mars and Gemini energy, and they're sinning while they're angry, and they're all sorts of all over the place, and they forget to change what they left under the bed, and then it starts to stink, and then the character they were manipulating with that spell work catches it and says, holy shit. You know, holy shit, divine feminine was right. Holy shit, that person who warned me about them is right. You know, and it feels like some sort of energy of that. So let's pull some more here, because it feels like karmics are in this state of like they have some sort of higher ground. It's probably more so just that they have more people, more triangulation, maybe more money, and like they're trying to hold on to that. But remember, I mean, if you listen to my channel, like I talk a lot about the harder you grip onto something, the faster you lose it. It's like sand, you know, you can hold sand in your hands, but if you try to grip it, it falls out faster, you know. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Queen of Wands in reverse. So they're looking at, there's something that they've been talking about and that other people have been talking about, that they're just mad. Let's just say they're just mad. Let's see, what are their energies? What is this energy then? Yeah, they're mad about some kind of high priestess in upright. Probably you. That's definitely divine feminine energy. What are they mad about? Divine feminines. Ooh, all right. The King of Swords and the Two of Wands reverse. So I get the sense that this is a fair amount of masculine energy with the, you know, like divine masculine to a degree. King of Swords is the first step in terms of the divine masculine evolution. It's very logical, and it could be somebody who is manipulative, somebody who's not very emotional, but it feels like with the Two of Wands in reverse, like they already started cutting away at the karmic energy. Yeah, just saw an old school tractor. Yeah, six of cups reversed. Like this was probably some sort of almost a childhood connection, or karmics played upon the nostalgic nature of masculines, and masculines caught that. And there's also the big energy of children going on, and so karmics are trying to hold on through some sort of connection with children, and more than likely in manipulative ways that are not for the children. Seven of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, you know what? Karmics are mad because there was some sort of plan that they took the time to craft. Like they tried to learn to do something. They tried to craft an image of themselves for the world that felt like nobody would ever catch on, sort of thing. Like, and I'm really getting a sense that for a lot of these karmics, they've been in their own karmic cycles of trying to do this for a while. It's very Geminian energy. Like Gemini energy, I've learned, like when it's evolved, they recognize that they're constantly changing creatures. That's a part of their life path. It's a part of their identity, and they embrace that. They don't try to force themselves to be this one identity all their lives. But when it's unevolved, oftentimes they do. And because it's Gemini, third house, like they often are very worried about what other people think, and they're usually very, you know, busybody, very gossipy, things like that. But they're also very good you know, at glamour spell type things, which doesn't have to be actual spell work. It could be, you know, a lot of times it's verbal manipulation and things like that. But like they get very worried about their images, and it feels like, you know what, I just got this image of like karmics putting on all these different like costumes, and they may have like been people who have like commented weird things on your social media, or who have sent you odd messages, or you may have been getting like extra text messages that are like, "You've won this thing. Click this link," or, "Oh, what is it? The IRS wants to talk to you. Click on this link," or, "There's this legal thing going on. Click on this link." They may have been sending you scam things to try to get access into your laptop, your phone, your inner world. They may have been trying to send you dating links or pretending to be, not karmics, well, karmic soulmates. They may have been trying to pretend to be soulmates. They may have interacted with you in online dating settings. They may have been doing all sorts of things to try to get more information about your inner world and to try to get something that they could give to masculines and say, "Hey, see, I told you, like, she gone, she done, she just as bad as me. You just give up, do this kind of shit." And they didn't get nothing. But I also get this image of them like, it's kind of like in the movie Labyrinth where they're in the ballroom and, everybody's in these masquerades. And it feels like every time they put on this beautiful big getup, whether it's a masculine or a feminine outfit, something happens and it gets ripped away. And the world sees just them with no costume on. And that scares them. That really hits their narcissistic wound. And every time that they have, in fact, it's funny, isn't the song that they're singing when they do that ballroom scene when the world falls down, or as the world falls down, right? And that's kind of this energy of it. It's like this sad moroseness of like, no matter how many times they try to build something that they feel is beautiful, they're building it with karmic energy, not with light energy, not with love energy. They've needed to go and heal themselves in the space where they feel like love doesn't exist, because they've been manipulating men, women, siblings, parents, themselves. This is how they were likely treated when they grew up and their conditioning. And so they've been doing this, but every time it falls apart. And most especially, like, they're not good at not sinning when they're angry. In fact, they do it more. The masculines have already caught them cheating on them many times. And it feels like the energy of like masculines that have been caught up with them have been in, healing their own codependent cycles, healing their mother wound stuff, and they've been recognizing the similarities to how they grew up in the situation that they're in with these karmics. And they're finally, like, it's sloppy, but they're finally getting out of this energy of being like, yes, yes men. Oh yeah, King of Cups upright, Judgment reversed, and many of them have been facing judgments, probably also from you, their divine feminine. And it's like no matter how they portray themselves to the rest of the world, no matter how they talk about your connection, no matter how they try to convince you that they don't care, they do. Your judgment of them matters the most. And if you have looked at them and said, masculine, your behavior is not acceptable. You need to do better. You need to be better. Not in a, you need to make more money, you need to look better, this and that, but you need to stand in the light. You need to connect with spirit. You need to treat yourself better. You need to care for the kids better. You need to stand up for injustices. You need to speak up when people are being karmic-y and piratey. They sit back and they're like, they can't unknow that. They can't unsee that. And the little things that they've been doing that they knew it wasn't great, but it wasn't something that they ever expected anyone would take them to task for. You may have done that. And it's making them step back and go, what the heck am I doing? What kind of lifestyle choices have I made? That this is the dynamic that I have with my friend, with my lover, with my divine feminine. All right, Spirit, is there more for us to know before I close up this video? We've got the devil upright and the star upright. So there's definitely this energy of like, there's overindulgence being manifested. You know what it feels like? It feels like masculines are in this place to where, like, they've tried to play along with karmics for their own, like, I don't want to be alone and I think I love them and, and all this stuff. They've tried to do that. They've also tried to placate and be in this energy of like, okay, I don't want you to get angry and irate and have all these issues, so I'm going to do what you want just so that, we can do this. And a lot of them thought maybe they'd manifest financial stability out of it. Maybe they'd be comfortable, at least it's the devil sort of situation. But instead, it just made everything worse. And they're finally realizing that. And they're in this energy. They really want to be alone, but karmics are doing everything to make sure that they cannot be alone, whether they're being with them all the time or they're making sure someone else is always with them at all times, or they're doing whatever they can to make sure that masculines don't get any alone time, because they're realizing the more alone time masculines get, the more they reconnect with themselves, the more they reconnect with spirit. Yeah, the Knight of Cups. And it feels like, let's see, what is it? And what's the energy that masculines are in? Thank you, cards. Kind of getting this. Is it Five of Cups? Yeah. Is it Five of Cups, Five of Swords, Three of Swords reversed, and the Fool? Like, I think masculines realize that they've been made a fool of, and that it's making it so that everyone else is making a fool of them too. Yeah, Seven of Cups again. And something's been stolen from them. And not just like a little thing. There's been something big stolen from them. And they're recognizing that there was somebody around them who, how do we put it? Thank you for help phrasing the spirit. King of Wands. You know what it is? I think they realized there was more cheating going on. There might have been something involved with the baby too. Um, something that really got to them. Something that kind of put them in Hierophant reversed energy of like, you know what? I'm done. Like that sort of energy. And they may be treating you with that energy too, just because like they're in that energy. Like if your masculine's in a space of like being extra rigid about their boundaries with you, or maybe going back and forth between loosening up boundaries and then being really heavy about boundaries, recognize that that's the energy that they are in with karmics, but it's probably like 10 times stronger, 100 times stronger, because they're with them all the time. Well, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. It feels like there's more readings that are going to come out later. For right now, make sure that you stop and take some deep breaths, not just when you're angry, but just in general. Like, do it for you. Cleanse your space, clean up your space, clean you up. Especially because I feel like if you're on this wavelength of divine femininity, that you're probably going to be in more of an observing state than like a direct interacting state. Like, yeah, I'm not saying you're necessarily going to be no contact with your DMs and stuff like that, but it feels like for this leg of the journey, you have done a lot of your direct interacting. You have done a lot of, you've followed your intuition, you've followed your heart, you've done your part in that, and there are more parts for you coming up. But for right now, this is the masculine's battle, for lack of a better way to put it. And like I said in the beginning, there's consequences coming up, and these masculines are really feeling it. And I feel like they're most especially facing this like Inquisition energy, not just from their karmic, or rather not just from their karmic romantic partner. They're also facing it from their families, they're facing it from their friends, they're facing it from all sorts of people who constantly ask them, why are they in this situation? Do they still love you? What's going on over here? Why are they fighting with that? Why are they still having money problems if all the money's coming in? Why is this and this and this happening? And these karmics, or these masculines, when they're in their karmic energy, definitely have problems with being questioned in the first place. But now it feels like spirit is like laying on this, this investigative energy from all, ins and outs and things like that from every person. And it feels like this sort of like laugh, cry, scream energy of like they're screaming at themselves because they know they made decisions that were not healthy for them and that manifested the messes that they're in. And they cannot stand that so many people see it and so many people are just like laying it out in front of them. It's like the tough love thing, to where it's like, you know what? we tried to warn you. We tried to tell you. You know, even people that are karmic to them, karmic friends and karmic siblings are like, we told you not to do that. We told you not to say that. We told you should focus on this. We told, you know, and even if their advice was bad, they're still laying it on to DMs in a way that they're like so upset about it. Like they know that they did follow advice of these friends and family, and this is where it led them. And then there's the good people in their lives that didn't tell them what to do and didn't tell them all that, but they're kind of looking at them going, well, those were the choices that you made. So what do you want? If you want a different life, you want a different situation, why don't you make different choices? But that's where DMs have been stuck. And so they're, you know, screaming at themselves about that, but they're also laughing because they remember some certain lessons that they experienced with you that you likely told them about themselves and told them that if they continued to do what they were doing, they were going to end up in this very situation. And you did it in such a way, you have a playfulness about you. I'm getting a sense these masculines are saying you had such a playful way about you, even when you're angry.